3 outs away for the Mat-Su Miners to get their 11th road win of the season in their final trip away from home during the regular season in the summer of 2024. Ben Dete could have been in line for a save, but pitching coach Steve Hecker electing to go to the bullpen and use his least used option on the season, Eduardo Mendoza, out of Incarnate Word. What should we know about him?
Well, he's got 5 appearances on the year, 4 1/3 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, and a 10.38 ERA, but a lot of that is inflated by 1 or 2 just bad performances. Really, the performance that did it was the June 24th game against the Anchorage Bucks. He gave up 4 earned runs in 1 inning. If you take that out, he's really been perfect on the season, so he is hopefully going to have more of the former rather than the latter today and get a quick lockdown frame to win this game for Mat-Su.
That 9-1 game that you were talking about at home against the Bucks is really one of only 2 times this season that the Miners have been blown out, and the other time happened also at home against the other team from Anchorage, the Pilots, winning that game, I believe, 11-3.
Yes, 11-3.
A couple weeks ago, but other than that, their losses have been close, and their wins have been, a lot of them during this streak have been close, but lately they have not.
And the last 3 games, it looks like, if this game finishes the way we're expecting it to, are going to be dominant.
11-0, 6-0, and this is 3 outs away from being 5-0.
That'd be 3 straight shutout victories if that happened too. Incredible.
This will be Logan Sanders up to bat to lead off the bottom of the 7th. 3 outs remain. It'll be Sanders, Chadwick, and Marcus Sanders against Eddie Mendoza, who starts Logan off with a strike. So far today for him, a strikeout and a flyout.
Yeah, flew out to left his last time up and struck out swinging to Rocco Bernardina back in the 2nd.
The 0-1 also finds the zone. Pilots had 2 hits in the first leg of this doubleheader. They have 3 in this one, 2 of which came in back-to-back plate appearances in the 4th inning, but have not scored a run, crucially. Here's Mendoza's 0-2, which misses outside.
Outside of the 1st and 4th, the Pilots really haven't had much of a chance today to put runs on the board in game number 2. Mat-Su able to just keep the foot on the throttle, and ever since the 2nd, it's just been all Miners in this game.
Mendoza's 1-2. Off the end of the bat into right, and that will land well foul. Kyle McCausland unable to teleport to it, so the at-bat will continue 1-2.
Eddie looking for a strikeout here. It'd be a big one. Start things off out of San Antonio, Texas is where he was born. Now lives in Eagle Pass. And he did play at Texas State in the past. In 2022, he was redshirted that year.
The 1-2 swing and a miss. Down he goes. Sanders goes down on strikes for the 2nd time. And it's the first K for Mat-Su since the 5th. A leadoff strikeout for Mendoza, just how he wanted to start.
Absolutely. His fastball's really been on point so far today. Puts it in towards the top part of the zone as he just did right there against Logan Sanders. That is a big first out, as we'll see the catcher Chadwick head to the plate.
That is strikeout number 9 between Bernardina, Dete, and Mendoza in this game today. Now the righty will pitch to Chadwick after a short break. Just missed on that. Evan Chadwick, a flyout and a walk today, was then cut down as part of a fielder's choice. Mendoza trying to lock it down. Would not be a save, of course, but still a valuable appearance out of the pen. Anything can happen in a game like this.
That it can, and obviously you don't want to even give the Pilots any opportunity or any window to come into this game.
1-1 misses outside. Of course, he could make it into a save opportunity. That's my favorite type of save. When you enter the game and it's not a save, but then you give up a couple runs, then end the game without giving up the lead. You manufacture, you create just enough of a mess to where you get credit for pitching in high stakes, even though those stakes were only high because you made them that way. But hoping that that will not come to pass here today. Mendoza certainly looking on point here early.
Is there a name for a situation like that?
I think there ought to be. Cleaning up your own mess, I suppose.
Yes.
3-1. And he brings the count full to Chadwick. With Marcus Sanders on deck, the bottom of the order were due up in this 7th inning.
That's
And
like
between the 3 of them, just one walk. Chadwick forced it in the 4th, and no other times reaching base.
It's like cooking everyone a fresh batch of chocolate chip cookies, but that's only because you ate them all.
Payoff pitch is fouled back. I think it's trying to bake a cake, but then messing up the recipe so much that it's more like a hot soup, and then just giving it to people out of the oven as cake soup, and it ends up tasting good.
That sounds terrible.
It does. So is artificially creating your own save opportunity. I don't know. That just came to me. I can tell I'm not a baker. Another payoff pitch. That is a walk. Chadwick draws his second straight free pass. After doing so against Bernardina in the fourth, he is a base runner in the seventh for the Pilots. The first of many long steps toward making this an interesting game.
That's the third walk issued by Matsu in this game. And the first by Mendoza.
That's actually walk number 4,
Or is
I
it
believe. Rocco had 3.
Yes, that is 4.
Mendoza coaxes a fly ball into foul territory. This is off the bat of Sanders. And Bisaccia has it, makes the grab in foul territory for out number 2. So it will bring up Dylan Marks, who is 0 for 2. He has walked as well, also struck out and popped out. So far in this game, he is the last out for the Pilots. The last man standing between Eddie Mendoza and the Miners. And consecutive win, number 10.
Yeah, he had that line out to the second baseman, Dom Patrizzi, earlier, that highlight reel catch by Dom.
First pitch into right field, dropping and nearly caught by Patrizzi, but it went over his head. So that is a single now with 2 outs. Dylan Marks has his first hit of the day. It'll be runners on first and second. You know, I just realized, I don't know if this is why Eddie Mendoza is in. I certainly think it's great that Eddie Mendoza is in because he has not thrown very many innings, and we definitely like to see all the members of the Miners contributing. But look at that number on his jersey, Dylan.
That is 10.
Now,
that
what
would be pretty
number
perfect.
could that symbolize right about now?
I think it could be a perfect 10, you know, or maybe 10 wins in a row.
10 out of 10.
Yes.
A great round of bowling, you could say. 1-0
Yeah.
on its way to Chase Knight, a walk and 2 strikeouts. Dives out of the way of that 2-0. Now, Mendoza having a bit of trouble finding the zone. Luke Stolga on deck has struck out swinging all 3 times he has been up. So that could be a fail-safe if Chase Knight is able to reach base. But Mendoza wants to end this one here and now.
That he does.
Get that ERA down a bit.
Yeah, still trying to use that fastball.
A 2-0, this could do it. Grounded to third. Bisaccia will throw on to second to get the force out, but he will not. Beating out that throw there was Dylan Marks. To keep the Pilots alive, they have loaded the bases with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th of this 7-inning doubleheader leg. I get what Bisaccia went for there, trying to get the force out where he could. It's an easier throw than throwing to first, but unfortunately that time it backfired on him. Chase Knight reaching on the fielder's choice. Marks to second, just beating out that throw. Chadwick down to third. And Luke Stolga, who I will remind you does have a grand slam against the Miners already this season, could make this a 1-run ball game with 1 swing of the bat. And aware of that, surely, is pitching coach Steve Hecker, because he is going to come out and chat with Mendoza.
Yeah, he's just trying to make sure that everything is where it needs to be. And like you mentioned, I understand what Bisaccia was going for in that situation. But the problem was Marks had already taken off well beyond that ground ball, and he was already pretty close to second by that point. By the time the ball arrived, he'd already slid in basically into the bag, and Patrizzi could only do so much. And that's a tough way to have the bases get loaded. Matsu right now just trying to make sure that this doesn't get any worse than what it is, and hopefully they can take care of Luke Stolga in a hurry. The good thing is it's only obviously already 2 outs, so you just need 1 out in this spot, whatever way you can get it.
I wasn't looking down to first, but I don't know if Bisaccia would have been able to get that out. They gave Knight a hit, which is obviously not correct. That was a fielder's choice, because you can't know if he would have thrown on. So it is still only 4 hits in this game for the Glacier Pilots. You know, this could be a good sign, though. I'm hearing some music coming through our headsets now. The radio station is back. Perhaps the Pilots getting ready to face the music. That pitch misses outside, 1-1. It's REM, Losing My Religion, I believe. Not sure what that could be a harbinger of.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Probably best not to divine any meaning from that. 1-1 from Mendoza. Misses just low. He wanted that one, so did the Miners.
And this presents an interesting dilemma. How do you deal with Luke Stolga, who admittedly has struck out 3 times already in this game, but we know he possesses that home run capability. Eddie's got to be careful in this spot just to not make the wrong play.
2-1, that is down the middle, and it is a strike. He is one strike away from rendering all of this moot.
All right, so we knew Stolga's probably going to be aggressive. He's going to try to swing at this, I'd say, so Eddie's just got to try to make sure to put in that fastball right past him.
The righty fires, swing and a miss. That's exactly what he did. A high fastball. The Pilots make it a bit more scary than it needed to be, but they leave the bases loaded, and the Miners complete a dominant display on the road at Mulcahy Stadium. 6-0 in the first leg, now 5-0 here, and capped off by Eddie Mendoza leaving the bases loaded. It is delight as usual for the Mat-Su Miners. They've now won 5 straight games in Mulcahy Stadium, 10 straight overall. And they have narrowed their deficit at the hands of the Bucks to just a single game with a slate of of home games on the horizon. 0-1. Inside, take by Bisaccia. If Nick reaches base without scoring the winning run, it will be Scow, who is 0 for 2 today, barring any pinch hitters. Perhaps we could see a Kellen Strohmeyer in that spot.
This is a tightrope act for Livesey in this situation.
His 1-1 is high, pitching around him, understandably so. Bisaccia hit that blast out to left field off the top of the wall and over the fence back in the 5th inning to tie this game up. Can drive in one more here.
Trying to use that breaking ball, Bisaccia.
The lefty fires and he gets past the catcher. Rickabaugh can't handle it and the Miners are going to win. Ryan Cochran scoring on a pass ball. And Mat-Su takes it again by 1 run, 3-2 here in Palmer.
Both of them left it to Hill, and I think you're right. Maybe he just misjudged it out there in center field, couldn't get to it quick enough. Either way, a run scores for Mat-Su, and now runners in the corners with Vaughn up.
Vaughn rips one into right center field. Going back on it are a couple outfielders, and that is down for a hit. Logan Vaughn has a double. This will score at least 1. Stopping at third now is Ryan Richard. Logan Vaughn, his 3rd hit of the season, gets 2 bases, a run batted in, and the Miners clicking on all cylinders here. I want to call attention. I just realized in my head that we have just seen back-to-back innings at Herman Brothers Field pitched by natives of the Valley. Nolan Murphy.
That's right.
And now Colton Haas. It's a great baseball culture here, of course. The Mat-Su Miners doing their part to raise a generation of baseball players that now are getting their shot to play on this field that they once attended games at as children. Really shows the reach that this team has had. Kyle McCausland is going to bat, and he's going to crank one out to left field. Going back, turning around, and over the fence. Kyle McCausland has done it. He waited until the very end, but he adds another extra base hit, and this is a 3-run jack that's going to win the game. 10 runs, the run rule in effect. And how's that? A walk-off 10-0 win. And the happiest we've seen the Miners all season.